Welcome, one and all. I see the chat is popping off right now. Before we even
Oh
started,
my
love,
goodness.
love that kind of love. What's up, General Onox? What's up, Physics Dev Quest? I don't know if I'm allowed to say your real name because I know you use your first name as your other handle. But welcome, Chris Physics. Yeah, welcome, Chris. Chris and I go way back. Not quite as far back as my buddy Josh here from Still Loading Pod, who has returned
Hey.
for another still. Nope, not another Still Loading. That's not what this is. This is Talk Tuesday.
Talk Tuesdays.
how
Talk Tuesday.
how is your Tuesday going? How was your past 2 weeks? Because I had a different guest last week.
I want to start off something like overall. Okay, so off the top, past 2 weeks, up and down on a personal level. More up than down. I would say like 60-40,
That's good.
but which is better than the previous couple weeks. The thing I told you I want to start this off real quick, and it's something that like I don't think I'm vocal enough about, and especially in light of some of the news today with some of the executive orders
Yeah.
that our failure in chief is
Yeah.
putting out. It's just something where it's like I don't know why I've never said it like publicly. This sounds so weird. This is something that I hate this because it's a cliche. I shouldn't say I hate this. I'm fucking, this preamble's awful.
If you want to come out, it's okay. There's literally a rainbow on screen right now.
What I'm saying is trans rights are human rights, and
Hell
the reason
yeah.
I'm saying that is because I don't talk politically online really at all. I try to stray off of it because this should be a respite from all the shit that's happening outside. Like, not saying a complete respite like that. It, like, we're human, we're going to talk about it, but
Yeah.
like I didn't want just to be like say it and then all of a sudden people would be like, oh, now you're finally fucking saying it when something bad really happens. But like, so I've never like tweeted it out. I've slowly kind of tried to show support more, like not subtlety, but like, I put my pronouns in my bio and stuff like that. But like, it's like the more shit that keeps happening to this poor fucking community,
Yeah.
the more I don't understand how, like, where is this rage coming from for fucking nothing, for people existing. I can't understand it. And I've tried to talk to my conservative family about it, where it's like, I don't like, listen, I'm not saying you have to like understand it or even like it, but like, people just existing shouldn't be a political issue. And I don't get it. And the basic statement of just saying trans rights are human rights, I've had an issue with how the left markets things. This is just, I don't know any other way to say it except like I feel for the community, and I there's not much I can do about it other than show solidarity and show that like if they need someone to talk to, they can. Not that I'm smart or can do anything or know any fucking goddamn thing about any of it, anything that they're going through, but it's absolutely insane. And I've always kind of like, it's taken me a long time to, it shouldn't take me time at all to feel comfortable saying it, because but I grew up super conservative, Andrew, like
Right.
we both grew up in
both
very
did.
conservative things. I didn't have the culture shock like you did of going to a very liberal arts school.
Yeah.
I've steadily become more progressive through my online ventures over the years.
And as you see every day, the horrors of what this system is doing to people who really need the support, much less being treated like a fucking human. And Chris is so spot on here. Humanity is more important than the bottom line. And like you said, it's not political. It shouldn't be. It is political to say that, unfortunately, but it shouldn't be. Like, fuck off. Like, if you think that trans people existing or having this human right to present themselves in the way that they feel inside at a core level, at a soul level, how is that affecting you personally? It's not. That is the answer.
No, how it affects them personally. It makes them feel uncomfortable. And these poor fucking snowflakes who can't who can't get out of their comfort zone enough to have someone challenge their societal norm.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I'm a fucking conformist, all right? Like, I dress like I dress like a basic ass person. I don't like I probably dress like a conservative would, just blue jeans and fucking an Eagles hoodie, like, in sports paraphernalia or whatever the fuck. Like I dress really bare bones and basic, and it's like I don't I don't stand out, right? That's what point I'm trying to make. I don't look any different, but like, and I'll be honest, I actually have, since you and I have talked a lot about like political stuff off mic. I work with trans people. I have a friend who's actually technically an employee of mine, but like she transitioned, and I knew her as one name, and now she's Vay. And I'm not going to go any more than that. Not going to give any more details because that's her story to tell, not mine, especially on a public forum.
Yeah.
But um it's one of those things where, like, when she first came in and she was non-binary, it made me really uncomfortable, and that's fine. Just allow yourself to be uncomfortable. Like, I don't understand everyone's fear of being made uncomfortable by someone that's different than them. I don't get it.
Yeah,
Like,
and they hide
it's
behind
okay to
the
feel uncomfortable,
religious, like, well, it's sinful, and the I don't like it, so I'm gonna say that God doesn't like it either.
even though it's not in the goddamn Bible.
No.
Like, as someone who still is a Christian, it's not anywhere in the Bible. Go fuck yourself.
Right.
I know it sounds weird for a Christian to have that kind of language. Whatever. That's a whole non-important rant about my opinion on the use of language and whatnot, and
Yeah.
that's like biblically. But
Well, I
it
appreciate you like coming out and overtly saying that. I mean, I know
I always felt like if I did it on like Blue Sky or Twitter, I'm not on Twitter anymore, but Blue Sky or something like that, it would feel too like performancy,
Okay.
like, look at me, I'm virtue signaling. Like, this is like, I'm not broadcasting this to my 500 followers. I'm you can see my emotions on my face, you can see how I'm feeling, you can see that hopefully this isn't coming from some type of virtue signaling place,
right.
because I don't there should be no goddamn brownie points given for someone just saying, hey, proud you exist, because that should be the bare fucking minimum. That should
Bare
be the
minimum.
standard.
Yeah. It
um
should be.
so
It really should.
there's no kudos, no brownie points, and I'm sorry to start off with something so heavy, but like I wanted to just kind of like selfishly say this out loud for myself to get myself over this mental hurdle, so that way when my conservative family talks about the issues, and I'd be like, well, they're present, like I can feel more comfortable just being like, listen, I don't get it either, but that's not for me to get. That's their journey, and their journey does not affect me. They are just existing.
Yeah.
And if they try to bring up like, oh, the bathrooms and all this other shit, I'm like, show me some goddamn sources then. Like, because the burden of proof is on you at this point. I
Right.
had a friend, I was arguing, not related to trans issues, but just like political stuff, where they would be like, oh, I heard this and this. I'm like, oh, could you show me the article for that? And they're like, oh, well, just Google
Just
it.
look
I'm
it
like,
up.
no, you are making this claim. You are making a claim that this is what it is, and therefore you have to back up your claim.
Yeah.
Since you're making the claim, you have to back it up. That's how this works. If I make a claim that being trans is, which you can look up scientific articles, I understand that, but if I make a claim that, like, it's not a mental illness, this is actually normal, and like there's just a small percentage of the population that feels this way, and gender is a construct, I could it's on me to find that research for you. Whether you agree with the research or not, that's entirely different, but it is on me to find that proof. Likewise, if you're making a claim of, whatever, violence in the bathrooms, because that's usually what it goes to, or like unfairness in sports, even though I think, what is it? I think someone said there's like less than 30 trans athletes in the entire country.
Yeah. That
Less
sounds
than
about
30.
right.
That's like less. That's a small ass percentage of a small high school.
Yeah.
Like
It's probably more than that, but it's the percentage wise is got to be infinitesimally
there's
small.
less than 1% less than 1% of the country are trans people, and if you take how many people are athletes in general, just in the world populace, it's even less percentage than that. So you're probably looking at less than 0.5% of the entire U.S. population is a trans athlete. Like, it's wild that people give that much credence to it. Just anyway.
Yeah. And
So
then
I
the
wanted to
bathroom
start
thing,
off
it's
with,
like, oh, you want to talk about from a religious standpoint, stopping this because of stuff that happens in the bathroom. You want to talk about like priests? Maybe
I think it's
touching
funny
kids.
that the same people who are decry like drug free, like gun free zones, because like how's that going to stop a criminal? Okay, well if someone's gonna do some heinous stuff to somebody else in a bathroom, when's a bathroom sign going to stop them?
Right. Yeah.
Like
Oh
it's
no,
the
I
same
can't
logic
diddle
going
those
back.
kids because of that
Like,
sign. Somebody who's already at that level of like mental degradation isn't gonna give a shit.
the sign's not going to fucking matter at that point. So it just, anyway, I know you have other stuff. I want to, not that I want to get off this quickly, because it is something that is a serious topic, and it deserves more conversation, and it deserves conversation more than a cis white dude can provide to it.
Right.
So I just wanted to kind of say it out loud, because this has like become a bit of a forum for me to vent some minor worldly frustrations. And I should say this was minor, but whoops, almost knocked my soda over. I shouldn't say this. It's not a minor thing, but like, it, I just needed to say this, because if I didn't, then I don't. I want people in that community to know that they like this show, whether it's Talk Tuesday, whether it's the Still Loading podcast, whether it's the Experience Point, like this is safe here. And I may not always understand, or I may be confused, and I hope they give me grace if I fuck up, because I'm gonna fuck up. But like, it's like no one deserves what they're going through right now, to have an executive order fucking targeting them for just existing.
Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway,
in all seriousness, I do really want to thank you for. Oh, thanks for the heart, Chris, for that vulnerability. And I like to not cater. Oh my god, what is it called when you craft something? Craft a space here, promote a space of love and safety, and especially around these types of issues. I have a lot of trans and non-binary friends. I don't know if they watch regularly or if at all, but I hope that just seeing that said, I mean, obviously I am very very anti hate and bigotry vocally, but I'm sure if they are watching, it is comforting, and I hope it's comforting to see that from somebody else other than myself on here.
and not that we deserve brownie points for it. Like
No,
like anyone who's in those communities deserves. You deserve just to exist in peace.
I just want
And
people to know that they are safe here. We're all gamers at the end
exactly,
of the
Onyx.
day. Yes.
We are all gamers at the end of the day.
Whether
Exactly.
you're a gamer girl, a gamer guy, or a gamer they, or a gamer with a Y, GAYMER.
I was always a fan of that one.
We were, yeah, me too. That's clever. But no, I also know that people, we all bleed red pixels. We all have
Oh, God.
we all have only 3 hearts. I know, as somebody who also came from a conservative upbringing and had to go through this journey, seeing, I'm trying not to sound patronizing when I say this, but seeing, like, genuinely, like, seeing you and experiencing you going through this journey that I also went through and am still on, like, by no means am I perfect in any way, but it's really cool to see, like, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that moment too, when I was like, you know what, I'm finally gonna fucking say something out loud and I'm not afraid of it. And I hope
shouldn't. I feel guilty for even having that reservation for it, because I shouldn't. I should just make people feel comfortable, because that's the humane thing to do. And in all honesty, as a Christian, that's the Christian thing to do.
that's
to
what Jesus
spread
would
love.
do.
Like it is. I don't know. Like anyway, yeah. It just still going on a journey. Still
Yeah.
going on a journey.
And I think it's important that you shared that. So maybe if somebody is watching this that is also on a similar journey and is in the same space as you, hearing you say that, I think could be helpful to people who are also deconstructing in the same way that I am and have, and in the same way that you are, these bullshit things that we've been brought up with. So yeah, I don't know. Thank you for the vulnerability, and yeah, I hope everybody watching this feels safe in whatever way. Like, I do not tolerate any kind of hate or bigotry here, whether it is homophobic in nature or racist in nature or misogynist in nature. And speaking of racist in nature, would you like to
Yeah.
talk about the other somewhat heavy thing
Yeah.
that
And
happened
so
this week?
I have a different tactic than Andrew a lot of times because I generally find that if you a little preamble. I streamed Castlevania on Sunday night, I think it was Saturday night. Sunday or Saturday night. I don't remember. It was Saturday. It was Saturday night. Um Castlevania on the NES, playing it through for the first time, and fucking beat it last night, so
Hell
that
yeah.
was a plus.
That's no easy feat
Um
either.
what, sorry?
That's no simple feat either.
No, it's fucking. Phew. Uh, uh, Actually, frequent chatter in your stream as well. Keaton was there to watch it as
Oh,
well, so that was
nice.
awesome. And who else? I think was there anyone else who frequent chatter? Parallax didn't show up. Yeah, that
I
son
haven't
of a
seen
bit.
Parallax in a
No,
while.
I haven't. He's been busy as far as I know. He
Mm,
pops out on my Discord every now and then.
nice.
But what is it? So yeah, this guy comes on and starts ranting about how in the new Castlevania season they make a character who was white in the game originally black in this one, and he was like, they completely changed the character and it ruined the show. And
Yeah.
I
It ruined
I
her story.
it ruined her story, quote unquote. Now I couldn't really debate the person because I've never seen the second season of the show. I don't even know if I finished the first season. I
It's
think I
in the
might have.
first season too of Nocturne,
Oh,
Castlevania Nocturne.
I didn't see any of Nocturne
Okay.
actually. I saw the original Castlevania cartoon from a couple of years ago. Anyway,
Immaculate.
the so I couldn't engage with that. And generally, when I come across like that, as long as someone's not being just straight up like, don't get me wrong, dude was being racist, but like as long as they're not coming straight out with like slurs, I at least try to push them, like bring them down from their ledge a little bit,
Yeah.
because generally when you engage with someone like that, when someone who's not coming with straight anger, it's if you respond in anger, they're going to double or triple down. Versus if you respond in good faith argument, whether regardless of how ridiculous they're like, I didn't even try to say like, yeah, I can see your point in that. I just
Yeah.
said, well, I wouldn't really get hung up on that. I'm not trying to give that person, he or she, whomever, any like edge on it. Like there's no negotiation on this, like you're being racist. But if you come out and say that, they're not gonna, doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
no one's gonna, like they're gonna shut off and there's no learning then. So my tactic has always been a little bit more like soft, because I have found, because especially with people who are, whether it's unknown bigotry or very overt bigotry, but we all have unknown biases that we don't even realize we have
Mm.
at times. um I try to treat it like that, because if I come out strong, that slight bias or slight bigotry, slight level of bigotry or racism turns into overt. And
Right.
if I can stop that, that's my goal. If and I've seen it work a few times. There was someone who pops in my stream a decent amount who was doing like complaint, like what is it? They were talking about like, oh, this one YouTuber I was talking about got mad at this other YouTuber and we're gonna go harass her stream. Like, why are you? And it was a female streamer and he was mad that they were mad at, and I don't even remember what it was about anymore. I think maybe she actually was kind of being a bad person. I don't remember, but I literally said, I'm like, why are you wasting your energy for that?
Mm.
I didn't say what they were doing was stupid. It was stupid, but I didn't say what they were doing was stupid. I approached it more like, why waste your energy? Why go in and like, they were literally going into it with the point of like, I'm going to see how long it takes me to get banned. And I went, why?
Yeah.
Why do that at all? I think it might have been Pokimane was the person he was
Really.
gonna. Yeah. She was huge back then, but she wasn't quite as like she's even bigger now, obviously. This was like in 2020, I want to say. And I remember I kind of convinced them to not do it. And since then, they become a little bit more of a centrist in a very conservative area where they told me they live, which I won't say on here because that's not my, not my place. But it's worked a few times. Like when you kind of don't treat the act as like, you don't condemn the act, you just kind of push them away from it. Like, look at it from this angle. Why are you wasting your energy on that?
Yeah.
What does it do?
Who's it for?
Who's it for? And that stopped them. And even the dude that, the racist dude on our end, he at the very end, he's like, you know what, I'm kind of coming around to your side a little bit on this. At the very end, he said that.
Really?
Yeah,
That
whether
was
he
that was
actually
after I
did or
left.
not. Yeah, he actually, what was it? I basically just said like, well, I mean, like, what's the big deal? I like, why is this a problem? Like, if it has, I told him like, if it completely changes the character, maybe you have a point, but I don't really know. But if it's a good story and it doesn't change like the foundation of the character, like that race isn't a part, like race isn't a major part of the character, then why do you care? Like,
Yeah.
James Bond can be black, why not?
Right. I for better or for worse, I don't have maybe the patience anymore from everything that I've seen and deal with in my have dealt with in my personal life and across the internet. So I was like, I was in the chat at that time, and I was like, "What the hell is your problem, dude? Like, what? Like, seriously, what is the issue?" I was like,
There was no issue.
She did. They were like, he was like, he ruined her story, and I was like, her what story? Being a damsel in distress. That's basically all she does in that game. She has like one moment that you can maybe say is a moment of agency, but it still gets like thwarted anyway by the villain, and it's like,
Which game is she from anyway?
Rondo of Blood.
Okay.
It was the
Okay.
one with Richter, this is the basis of the.
I totally thought you were saying his name was Rick Durr, like Rick Durr.
Rick Durr. Don't you know
and
Rick?
I got very confused for a second.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Rick Belmont. You know, it's tough out here on the mean streets of New York
It's
fighting
11.
vampires.
It's
Anyway,
like he's just like he's a vampire hunter who's just like from like the Flintstones. It's 11.
yeah, it's 11. He would be in What We Do in the Shadows. Anyway, so yes, I don't, not to spoil too much, but she doesn't have a whole lot to do in her game. She's kind of a damsel in distress. She has a somewhat interesting moment at the end, towards the end, but she's white. And in this series, in Castlevania Nocturne, they do something what I think is really interesting, and they make her black, but they don't just like, we made her black, you know, to get more brownie points. Like you're talking about brownie points, where it's like sometimes it feels like you're like, look how diverse we are. I will still always err on the side of, or lean on the side of, like, more representation is always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially in this case when it improves the character. Like, so it takes place in like I don't know, the 1800s or something. So you have at the time the Atlantic slave trade, and they go into how that works in a world with vampires, and it's fascinating. And you know, like
they build it into the lore. They didn't just do a surface level brownie points type of thing,
right? And by doing that, they make the character cooler than she ever was. And it's like, and not only that, oh my god, I was getting so tilted at this guy. Not only that, they introduce another character so there's a character in Rondo of Blood, the game that they're pulling all these characters from, named I think it's Terra.
Yes, Terra is a character in it. Only reason I know that is because I have the plot synopsis up right in front of me.
Nice. So they basically they have a character in Castlevania Nocturne, the show, that basically serves the same purpose. Like, they basically give old Annette they give Terra all of old Annette's stuff. So that storyline still exists. And then they took Annette and added and compounded the lore of the whole, what if your slave master was a vampire? Like, when you think like these people couldn't get any more deplorable and evil, like straight up legitimate evil to the core, add on a vampire to it, and it gives that character a lot more motivation and a lot more interesting backstory. And like, I, as a personal bonus, get to see my girlfriend, who is black, see this character kicking absolute ass on the show and being like, oh my god, I want to cosplay her. I don't have to feel bad about cosplaying this character because everybody's going to be like, oh, well, this character's not black. Which, by the way, she doesn't only cosplay black characters, but it's nice to not have to worry about that. Like,
I never understood that like level of outrage that people had with that shit. That always it like I always thought it was cool. Like the you can you can dress as whatever you want. Just don't put on like whatever face, whether it's white
yeah,
face.
yeah,
I mean, obviously white face is less problematic than black face, but like well, not even anyway. You know what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
But like
Don't try
you
to
could just dress
change your race via
exactly.
makeup.
Yeah, don't try to change your race. Like
Just
that's
don't do
all
it.
it is. Like and that wouldn't be a problem if people weren't fucking racist in the past, but it is a problem. So
Right.
you can't do it. Too bad. Like
Yeah. Oh, so sad.
so it
Anyway, yeah, that made me
I never
mad.
understood that. I know that's been a thing in like cosplay scenes for a while where it's
Oh, yeah.
like people get mad if you're not the race of the character you're cosplaying. I'm like, that's not the fucking but like who gives a shit?
There's a song that this content creator made. I wish I could shout her name out, but I saw it like in like 2017. I'd have to Google it. But she cosplays Hinata from Naruto, and she makes this song, and it's like she's being like the haters, and she's like, Hinata isn't black. Hinata isn't black. And she just starts like just busting it down, and she's like, she gonna be black today. She gonna be black today. She gonna be black today. It's so good. I love it. Anyway, so don't be fucking transphobic and don't be racist is what we're really trying to say.
Is there any other heavy stuff that you want to talk about off the top before we move on?
I would say just things, since if you're here for the first time for a Talk Tuesday, I know some people in the chat are, some newer followers, newer friends, new community members. We just like to talk about things that we have experienced this week.
Yeah,
whether
it's not
good,
normally heavy stuff right off the top, but with all the stuff going on in the U.S., we kind of have been feeling it.
yeah,
a bit.
yeah. And whether that's good, whether that's bad. I mean, you've talked about a little bit about some of your personal stuff regarding like the house and bad stuff going on there. So
I do have a good update on the house, though.
nice. I would love to hear it after this. I'm not afraid of sharing the bad things if it's stuff that is my story to tell, because this part of this experience point, the whole thing is processing these things. Josh and I are very good friends. We've known each other since we were 19,
something
and
like that.
now
I mean,
we're,
dude, it's been over a decade.
Yeah,
it's wild.
I'm gonna be. It's coming up, I think, on 15. If it hasn't hit already, it's, oh my god, I'm gonna be 36 next month in like 2 weeks. Anyway,
oh, dude, I'll be 36 in April, so I'll meet you there in a few months.
Well, come to my funeral because I'll be dead of old age. No, but generally the whole format of this show is what have we experienced in the past week. We do it on Tuesdays, whether it's good or bad. And the last kind of really heavy thing that I'll talk about is I hate that I have to say this. I hate that this is a possibility at all. Do I think it's likely to happen? No. But there's a distinct Donald Trump is trying to end birthright citizenship. If he does, my girlfriend, who I mentioned is black, will not be an American citizen because both of her parents are, her mom is from Zimbabwe and her dad is from the Bahamas. I hope she would be okay with me sharing this, but I went out a little bit earlier and I came home kind of not aggressively, but I was carrying a bunch of stuff. So I kind of had to kind of shove the door open as I was carrying things, and I wasn't as dexterous as I normally am. And she was like, oh my God, like I didn't know who you were coming in. And I was like, what? And she's like, I mean, with everything with ICE deporting, they bragging about deporting like 1,000 people, almost 1,000 people. I read the text where, okay, actually it will affect, affect future births though. But she and I would be screwed. Yeah. Chris here as well. Yeah, so that's comforting to know. Thank you for that. But we were like, the possibility that that's even on the table
it shouldn't terrifying. Be technically. Like for a change to the Constitution, the way it would have to happen. Like not only would it have to have like an over 70% vote in both the House and the Senate, which it's never going to hit.
Right.
And even if that does hit, um, the states have to ratify it, which I don't know what the percentage of states is, but like I can't imagine like enough are going to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'd like to think that I don't think Pennsylvania would, but they've screwed me in the past. You know what? I'm
Yeah.
going to change both my lights to blue. I don't even want. I'm going to finish my red drink because I don't even want anything red right now.
Oh my
I'm mostly
word!
kidding. But so, yeah.
Oh, I
We've
gotta
been
get
just
rid of
kind
this
of
Coke can.
we've been kind of stressing out about that, and not like I said. I don't think it's likely because of you mentioned everything that would have to go through. I likely wouldn't happen, but the fact that it's even on the table and we're even talking about it, and everything else that he's trying to do to transgender people and other marginalized folks who need support, uh, is just it's terrifying and is also affirming our decision to GTFO. I'm gonna
Honestly, like
put the red light
when
back
you
on.
first mentioned wanting to get out of the country, I was like, come on, man. Like don't like I was like, you do you, but I was like, come on. But now the more like this is happening, like it's been a week. It's been a
1
week.
week. Yeah, it's
It's been
been.
a week.
And I will
I'm
say
really
I don't only want to leave because of this. I've my girlfriend and I have both been wanting to live in Japan basically our entire adult lives.
yeah.
And now it's just extra affirming. So I don't want to feel. I do still feel like that little bit of guilt. Like, well, it's still gonna be horrible here for everyone that you know and care about. So like,
Well,
there's that
like
feeling of
here's
like
a here.
abandoning or giving
No,
up.
you're not a one. You're not abandoning anyone because you will always like you got to do what's like there's a you have to find a balance between doing what's best for you and your family and the people that you love and care about, and also doing what's best for everyone. Like you have to balance it because if you're fully selfish, then you know that doesn't help anyone and the world just gets worse.
Right.
But if you're fully if all you do is help people, then you leave nothing for yourself. Like you can't help people unless you have stuff to help them with.
Right.
And if you need to leave the country to do that, if you need to go somewhere else, if you like for me, like I'm trying to I think for the rest of the night I need to be off blue sky because I've been doom scrolling all day.
Yeah.
Um I can't provide I'm not talking about just financially. I can't provide emotionally for my family if I'm constantly beating myself up over stuff or like being sad or depressed about other stuff. Like part of the things that has been going on this week, just personally, is like I've just been feeling very off emotionally.
Mm.
Um, Part of it, I realized I was working from home 2 weeks in a row straight, and I some that works for some people. I need a little bit of social interaction,
Yeah.
just a little. I went into the office today for the first time in over 2 weeks. And even though all this stuff is stressing me out today, my mental health is significantly better. I am in a much better headspace because I got a chance to breathe and talk to people and just socialize and like community is so it's one of those things you forget how important it is and how important um the internet can't replace that. Like as
Yeah.
much as we can talk to people on Discord or over like this is not bad because it's a voice and I can see you, well, a delayed video because of
Yeah.
how our streaming setup works. um but it's so community is so important. That's why I always talk about like I've talked about it on other podcasts as well, but like video game conventions are churches for the geeks, are churches
Yeah.
for like that's what conventions are. Whether it's an anime convention, whether it's a video game convention, whether it's just a geek like etc. convention, those are our churches.
Yeah.
Like, and yes, I know I'm Christian, and like we actually found a LGBT inclusive church, which is fantastic.
Nice.
Uh, Even with it, though, I don't know. I don't know. The pastor has outwardly claimed that, like, outwardly said it to us when we went for like prior to my wife and I getting married that she was like, and they have a female pastor which you don't see very often, where she said, yeah, we support the LGBT community. I was like, well,
Nice.
cool. So that's awesome. But the outside of that, I should say, you still need that community. Like the part of the reason churches work is because they give you a space for your community. Um, we need more spaces like that.
Yeah.
We need more physical spaces for that, for people to commune, and something where it's not necessarily revolving around commerce,
Yeah.
right? It
Yes.
doesn't have, you shouldn't have to spend money just to go hang out with your friends.
Are
Um,
you still doing D&D?
yeah, I'm doing D&D. We haven't been
Nice.
able to meet some for the last couple weeks. Due to snow was the last time, and also I would have been able to go. Both Courtney and my daughter had the flu.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The last Talk Tuesday we did was the start of it, and
Right.
that's why. Yeah. So it was wild. I somehow didn't get it. Don't understand that, but I somehow didn't get it.
That's wild.
Um, but like,
Knocking
what
on
is it
wood for you.
on? I do you remember Talk Tuesday a couple weeks ago? Like, maybe a month ago at this point. I talked about the Atari party.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a completely free event for just Atari enthusiasts to come together, hang out, like just retro game and retro computing fans. It didn't cost us any money. Now it cost the person hosting it. It was like $300 for 4 hours.
Yeah.
But like, if you have the money and you want to do it, then do it. Um, I may I may start trying to figure out stuff like that, like to host for myself. I don't know where or how, but like find a place that we could host an event. And there's actually a church my brother attends, where they like have a pride flag inside. Like
Nice.
they it's not just like saying it, like they visually show it
Yeah.
outwardly. Um, so I don't
Keeps
know,
the hypocrites
but
away.
pretty much, very much so. So
Did you?
maybe I could see if like I could talk to my brother, their members there, how much does it cost to rent the space out there and do a little like game event if people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. Church thing might not because people don't always feel comfortable with that. Totally fair, but I you need these communal things. Cause it's funny, the where that Atari party was is like right down the road from my house at this like old historic train station. They just rented out a room, like I said,
Nice.
and I drive by it to go for like grocery shopping and stuff like that. And every time I drive by it, I was like, man, that was like the last weekend where I was just like everything was great.
Hmm.
Like just because that party was just that hanging out and meeting so many cool people was just such a fun experience.
Yeah.
And it was, obviously there were still problems going on in the world and all this other stuff, but like,
You have to be able to recharge though.
yeah.
My
You need that community though. You need
Yeah.
that communal group of people to hang out with and recharge. And I think that I think it's something that we forget. There's a talk. You ever heard of the concept of like the third space? Your third space.
Yeah.
Did I talk about it before on another stream?
What's up, Shadowed? Welcome. I
Um,
think it's something like your your home is one
it's
space, your work is another space, but you need like a
yes,
completely separate third space.
exactly. Home is one space, work is another space, and you need a third. Like it used to be parks or a bar could be your third place,
Right.
but some place where you could gather as a community. Churches are a third place, but some place that doesn't put expectations on you
Yeah.
necessarily. Not like, I mean, obviously there's
The
the
man
man
cave.
cave, sure. I mean, but that's like a solo thing. I'm talking about like you need something that's communal. I
Yeah.
mean, you could get a bunch of people to congregate in your man cave. That's always a possibility. That sounded dirtier than I intended it,
You want to
but
congregate in my man cave.
you want to meet in my man cave?
Yeah, I mean my version of that is conventions, and you talking about like this Atari party, which also sounds kind of dirty, by the way. I forget if I made that joke when you were talking about it, but I was like, what does everybody just go around and play with each other's joysticks? Like
There's a lot of joysticks to pass around, baby.
Discord servers are acting as great disabled
Yes.
immunocompromised. Oh,
Yeah, that's
totally.
true.
Yeah. And I mean, you can absolutely have that online, but there's definitely something about the in-person space. Like conventions for me were that. Like I started a tabletop campaign with some friends, and well, a friend is running it, and then we met Police and I both started playing. 3 new friends from just playing this it's not D&D, it's called Savage Worlds, but it's basically D&D. That's been fun. And You talking about the Atari party made me like so sad because Magfest was this previous weekend.
Dude, I
And
saw so many things that just looked like I've never been that interested in MagFest. But like now it's free third spaces slash third spaces don't require money are thing that are really becoming way too few. Yeah,
yeah, totally.
absolutely.
VR's been helpful. I like that.
That's cool. That's cool.
I did VR chat a little bit, and I saw some really cool stuff, and I saw some stuff I'd like to forget. But that's what you get. But dude, Magfest is my favorite convention. Like I think of all time, and this year would have been. I didn't go 10 years straight, but it would have been my 10th year going. I'm pretty sure the first year I went was 2015, and this would have been my. I mean, they didn't do one in 2021 because of COVID, and the one they did in 2020 was very early. They do it in like January, so they didn't do one in 2021. So obviously I wouldn't have gone straight through. But I have to look back at my like email receipts and I still keep all my badges, and I'm like, I want to see how many I went to. But almost every year I would go to that, and this was the first year since then that I was just physically unable to go, and unfortunately it's just due to money. The badges are getting really expensive. It's a 4-day con, to be fair, but it's $155 for 4 days, and I could have swung that, but it's in like DC, so it's like,
Hotels are going to be expensive.
Hotels are stupidly expensive. There's more and more people every year. I'll go to the arcade pool ball, but yeah, right. That's what Josh was saying. Like it all survives around
a lot of
around commerce.
Well, and a lot of the free third spaces, even if you don't have to pay money, and I say this, like I said before, as a Christian, it's church functions, which means you're not necessarily paying money, but you are going to have to listen to get preached to.
Right.
Which
yeah.
No one that's not what people want all the time. Like people generally don't like to be preached to be fair, which is valid, but like that. I don't know. Like sometimes there should just. It's funny because I understand why churches do it. You need to bring people more in the congregation to keep the church alive, blah, blah, blah. But there is also a thing that I feel like they should do more often where, like, the whole purpose of Christianity, right? Not to get onto a religious thing, is like, come as you are, and God loved you unconditionally, right? So why can't we set up places for people to hang out just unconditionally? I'm not saying like necessarily live there, because that's a whole other thing, though that would be ideal for unhoused people and stuff like that. But but for third places at the very least, like just allow people to show up and not get like preached to. Yeah. Just show up and hang out. Like just allow them to exist and not have to worry about something for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like to do that on the internet, you still have to pay money. Technically, you're paying for your internet bill, or someone's paying for the internet bill. Yes, you might have to pay for travel and stuff like that, but I don't know. That just gets me thinking. Like, I want to host some type of a free event. That's why shit like the public libraries are so important too. Like, go support your goddamn public libraries.
Seriously,
like, not just for like to read and stuff, but like, they are a lifeblood of a community, man. Like it's just one of those things where it's like you need to, more than ever in the shit that's happening, we have to build and rely on our communities.
Yeah,
and
it's crucial.
It's not always easy, especially because everyone on the internet has like we're all so far spread. But I don't know, just yeah, I gotta figure something out. I want to do something like that.
Libraries have so many more resources than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I miss like going to like fighting game events. Like there used to be.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole COVID pandemic
mm-hmm.
really stopped a lot of people. Oh, totally. And that's
absolutely.
why this stopped happening. But there was a regular fighting game event where you could go, and if you just wanted to spectate, it was totally free. Most fighting game events are like that. If you just want to go and hang out with people and play friendlies and just like have matches together and hang out and play a game that you're really into, it's totally free. If you wanted to compete, and this is where the venue was making its money, they get like a cut of the final prize pool. So it behooves everyone to like get more people, because the more people that come, and if you want to compete, you put in like $10 or whatever, and then the prize pool gets so big. First, second, and third gets their cuts, and then the venue gets a cut. I loved that. I didn't compete that much after. I don't know. I think the last time I actually competed in a fighting game tournament was like seriously was probably like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
But I still would go to them a lot until 2020, when pretty much everything shut down. That place isn't even there anymore. Although I've heard it has to do with mismanagement, but still, like, it was a really cool place specifically for, if we're talking about the gaming space and the nerd space in general. If you don't want to afford to go, you can't afford or don't want to shell out to have to pay hundreds of dollars. I looked into how much it would cost to go to MagFest this year for my girlfriend and I, and it would have been like $700, like between the badge, the hotels, and food, and just existing. Just existing costs money, and
What
that's
is it?
so much money.
I'm trying to go up to Retro World Expo up in Connecticut this year again, because I did a panel a year and a half ago, or it'll be 2 years ago by the time the next Retro World comes up. But I can't justify spending the money on it, so I'm going to. Luckily, I actually have a friend who I met through podcasting. We met up and we recorded a podcast in person.
Nice.
Last time I went,
I missed that.
and I'm going to ask him.
I'm
going to be like, hey, would you be willing to let me crash on your sofa if that's okay? If not, I totally get it. You know, you've only met me once and we've only known each other online. Totally fair if they don't feel comfortable with that. Say no if you feel uncomfortable at all, but I still have to ask him. But like, I want to ask him to see if he's cool with that. If not, once again, no harm, no foul,
like,
whatsoever.
Well,
I would only go, for me to go to Retro World Expo, two things would have to happen. One, he has to let me crash on his couch. Two, I'd have to get a panel approved because then I would get free admittance to the con, and I would also get free housing. Then all I have to do is pay for food, which I could totally afford.
Hell yeah.
And the gas to get up there. But
yeah, you said Connecticut?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's like a 4-hour drive.
4 hours? Oh yeah, Connecticut. Yeah, sorry. I put Connecticut on top of New Hampshire instead of under it.
New Hampshire?
Yeah.
It's even under Boston. Or not Boston, sorry, Massachusetts. It is under Boston as well, but I was trying to say Massachusetts and I just went Boston.
If you say Boston 3 times, Drew the Damager is summoned.
I can't even do a solid Boston accent. I can't do any accents, to be fair.
It's one of my favorites, kid. Oh my god, dude. There he is. Drew's already here? I am here.
Yeah, summoned him. Actually, no, yeah, he showed up before.
It
but
worked. I totally missed that in the chat.
Anyway.
What's up, Drew? Anyway, yeah. So we need more community is basically what we're trying to say. I am devastated that I missed MagFest. It was also Sonic themed this year, which I was like, no motherfucking shit. All the Sonic panels and Sonic cosplay.
I never hear you swear. This is some heavy stuff.
I know. I think we talked about this last time and you pointed it out. You're like, I don't remember you swearing so much. And there's no two ways about it. Go through a divorce. It'll change you. I used to pride myself on not. Oh my god, that shit'll change you. I should probably try to reel that in.
It's fine.
Who gives a shit?
Know when and where to reel it in.
Yeah.
What is it? Last thing about MagFest before we move on. Let me see if I can find it. There's the librarian of the Video Game History Foundation, Phil Salvador. He went to MagFest. He's a big fan of it, and I like this one post that he put on Blue Sky. I've tried to explain to people that you don't go to MagFest to consume content. You go to MagFest to put on MagFest for everyone else at MagFest.
Nice.
And I kind of love that. That gives that entire community vibe. You know, I love that. I love that description.
I can't recommend you specifically go anymore because I remember like even smaller cons that we would go to together. This is that times 10 for better or for worse, but it's strictly around. We used to always go to anime conventions. This is music and gaming fest. That's what MAG stands for. between
Yeah.
all of your interests and mine. That's why I love it. That's why I stopped going to Katsucon,
I'm not
which was
like
in
a
the same
huge
venue.
music person though. Like that's why I only go to video game conventions now. Really, I go to too many games, which now is a little bit more esportsy, and also like it's run by AVGN's company, which
Oh, really?
he's been in a little bit of hot water somewhat recently, but I
Womp
don't.
womp.
I'm not actually that upset at like well, very 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 abbreviated story.
Sounds like
Sounds
Rich.
like Rick from Pixel Project Radio should go. Yeah, wow.
Actually, don't know them.
I like, yeah. Do you? I'm sorry. Like, Rick's a friend of mine through podcasting. It's just I've never seen. I'm gonna have to let him know his name got dropped. He'll love to hear that.
Oh, sick.
Uh, Rick is a very sweet person. One of my favorite podcast. One of the smartest people I've ever listened to on a podcast. Like, he's just very. Oh, you're gonna be on this next episode.
Oh,
Oh
hell
shit.
yeah, that's awesome. Networking.
That's
networking,
also like
networking.
Rick is such a good person. I was on his show for oh gosh, what did I do? Celeste.
Nice.
I want to say I was on his show for Celeste last year.
Still got to play that.
I will be on his show again sometime soon to talk about Outer Wilds. I don't know if I should tease. I should have said
Still
that.
got to play that.
Outer Wilds is great. Outer Wilds is so fucking good. I love that game.
Yeah.
I actually started replaying it a little bit, and then I was like, man, like I already know the story for this whole thing. Like I already know how this game works. I know how to solve this puzzle. So I was just literally going around rereading stuff that I already discovered. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna replay this. I'm just gonna like read a synopsis of the story again because I played it again, got used to the controls, figured out no spoilers. I don't worry, y'all.
No.
No spoilers will be given. I think that game is something that it's one of those games kind of like Heavy Rain where you can only really experience it once.
Yeah, any of those Quantic Dream games, problematic as they are, I do love that when you get to the end, like comparing your playthrough with somebody else's. I love stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So Rick's awesome. Pixel Project Radio. He's one of the smartest people. Like the way he breaks down like thematic, and he's also very well read. He's extremely well read. Like he knows all about philosophers and all this other shit. And I'm just like, the controls feel bad in my hand.
Yeah.
And he's
I hate
like,
Dark
Nietzsche
Souls.
said, how do you do half circle and a quarter circle? I don't understand.
Oh god, that's just fighting games. that's
he likes fighting games as well. Rick's a good dude. He's a good dude.
Well, so what I will say, I know you said you're not a big music person, but you are a big gamer, and all the music, 90% of the music that is at MagFest is video game related. So like Mega Ran will go to perform there. Cybertronic Spree will go to perform there. A Power Glove was there this year. Or like chiptune DJs and stuff. He drops verisimilitude in the next
appearance
episode.
of being true or real. That's what verisimilitude.
Nice.
Verisimilitude. Yeah, verisimilitude. I think that's how you say it.
It's pronounced very similar, dude. Anyway, I had to look it up mid-recording. That's so funny. Oh, so you already recorded with him. Like next episode as in the next one to drop. Not next one he's producing. Very cool. Wow. Scoop.
Rick's awesome.
I'm going to have to check him out. Thursday.
Awesome.
Talk Thursday.
I've never met someone who can speak in such big words but not make you feel stupid. Like,
that's one of my biggest pet peeves.
He uses a lot of big words, but it never makes it feel like, oh, you don't know this big word.
Yeah.
It's very like he's earnest.
I like
Love
that.
Rick. Oh. He's a good dude.
Sweet. I think a decent segue into things that we've experienced. Have you checked out Knight Rider?
Like the TV show?
No, the band that we talked about last time.
Oh no, it's the last 2 weeks have been a blur.
Oh, okay.
Between the wife and kid being sick, and then last week, I'll say what happened last week. It's a good thing. We got a wood pellet stove
Okay.
for the house, and I will go on my old man rant like a good rant, like I'm a happy type of rant,
I'll never
a
go
happy
back.
old man rant, because you're old when you are just like gushing about the heating of your house.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, like just does it so efficiently. I can't believe it. I'll save all that. So no, I did not check out the band Knight Rider, unfortunately.
That's okay. To anyone who's listening, I highly recommend checking out this band called Knight Rider. It is a reference to the show with David Hasselhoff, but it's just without the K, and it's Night.
Reference to the Huff.
The Huff. You gonna hassle the Huff? They are and I've never heard of a band like this, which I find new music all the time that I really like, but why I knew Josh would really like this band. They are a synth wave metal band. I mean, I use the term metal lightly. I think it's more like, kind of emo-y post-hardcore, but there's like a little bit of like gent in there, which is kind of cool that I'm into. It's definitely, if you like emo music, it's like heavy emo. God, I wish I had efficient heating in my house. Also,
Drew,
I am old.
Wait, you buckle up your sit downs, because I will tell you all about the wonders of pellet stoves once Andrew's done.
God, how can I delay this as long as I possibly can? We're gonna lose all our
What
viewers.
are you talking about? You want to talk about my wood?
I will talk about your wood anytime. Anyway, Knight Rider is great. So it sounds like today's like kind of post-hardcore metal if it was made in the 80s. So it's got like that synth wave kind of, it sounds like a Miami Vice kind of backing track at first, and then all of a sudden these like heavy guitars come in, and then this guy's vocals are great. And I'm not as much into like the kind of higher pitched emo-y leaning metal vocalists, but it nails the vibe, and I've been obsessed with it. They have an album out called I think it's self-titled. It's just called Knight Rider. It came out in 2023, and they just put out a new song about a month ago called The Dark. If you're gonna listen to one song by them, listen to The Dark. It's incredible. I've been obsessed with that album. I listen to it every day. And Josh showed me a band called And Then There Were None back when we were in college together that I really liked, that had like a techno kind of emo punk metal sound. And this is gonna be right up his alley. Sounds like
Knight
a band
Rider spelled Night, right?
Yeah. Sounds like
and
a band.
What's the song you just said?
Shadowed would dig. Nice. The Dark.
All right, I have it. Knight Rider The Dark official music video. I found it. I have it up here right now.
Nice.
And I will wait till the end of the stream to partake in it.
Excellent. And you were into the band that they were prior.
Briefly, I sent you the video in the last stream of like into the Call of the Warrior.
Affiance or
Affiance, yeah.
I always want to pronounce it like fiance, like a fiance. Here's new music by a fiance. Listening to it now and I'm vibing. Nice, hell yeah.
There you go.
It's such a vibe. I can't get over it. Well, let's see. What else can I talk about? I just have in my notes, because you made a Hawk Tua joke last time. Why did we never jokingly call this Hawk Tua's Days instead of Talk Tuesdays? I feel like we missed something crucial there. So I actually titled on YouTube our last one that went live. I think I titled it
maybe like
Hawk Tuesdays.
Once every other month we have a Hawk Tuesdays where we just make up sexual exploits.
We always that's every week.
Well, no, those are real sexual exploits. We're gonna make up ones.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
I fucking went down to Texas where there's steers, and I'm not gonna say the other word because that's offensive.
Damn. Yeah, usually when we do, it's Gilmer comes in and is like, what the hell did I just come into?
he always
what he
comes in right at the worst time.
You never want to come
the best time.
Right at the worst time. So I have a huge thing that I can talk about, and a medium thing that I can talk about. I always thought these letters were fake until uh, I just want to gush for a second about the fact, and everybody who knows me in real life, mostly Chris, is going to be like, yes, of course, this is what he wants to talk about. We have 3 new Ninja Gaiden games coming out this year.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes. They just released Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
Yes, which is such a great callback to the first Ninja Gaiden Black, which is the definitive way to play Ninja Gaiden 1. Do not play Ninja Gaiden Sigma. I mean, I guess you can. Also, I find it funny that they used to call it Sigma, and they had a Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma. And because of Gen Alpha, we will never get another Ninja Gaiden Sigma because of how they've perverted it. They're going to be like, what the Sigma? So Chris said I knew it. We have, so it's the definitive version of Ninja Gaiden 2, which when the Sigma version of that came out on PS3, they cut out a lot of stuff. They made it easier. Like, they really dumbed down the violence, which you don't have to have, but it feels really cool to cut somebody into little pieces and watch just the blood go absolutely comedically everywhere. So, and they shadow dropped it the same. They Izuna dropped it, which is a move you can do in the game. The day that they released they announced a new one, Ninja Gaiden 4, which the fact that exists at all makes me really happy. The part that I creamed my jorts over was it's being made by Platinum. Platinum Games.
Jorts still?
I creamed my jorts. Yeah, I sold that from a friend of mine.
I don't care about the creaming part. It's the jorts that makes me uncomfortable.
It's the jorts. I creamed my jorts. Platinum Games, who made Bayonetta, Nier Automata, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, and the
Astral Chain,
and the often forgot about and unfairly lambasted Transformers Devastation, which is one of the best action games I've ever played. If you like Transformers even a tiny bit, play Transformers Devastation. It's so goddamn good. Platinum does not miss, except for the time that they missed. But that was only because they tried to make an MMO, and they should have stayed in their lane. And they had a lot of studio pressure because of the MMO and live service games, which basically need to end. So I am super stoked. We get a new proper numbered Ninja Gaiden sequel for the first time since the original version of Ninja Gaiden 3, I think, came out in like 2013.
Wait, sorry, which one are you talking about?
Ninja Gaiden 3, not the Razor's Edge
2012.
version. 2012. Yeah, I was a year off. So over 10 years.
Because I was trying to figure out like when everything came, because you have obviously the Ninja Gaiden games, the retro ones, 1, 2, and 3 on the NES, and also the arcade, and also the Game Gear, and also there's an Atari Lynx version if you want to play that.
Some of those are good.
Then they have the trilogy on the Super Nintendo in 1995, and then nothing from 96 to 2003, and then you have the 2004 kind of like, hey, we're back, baby. And then Ninja Gaiden Black came out in 2005.
Best one.
And then you have Ninja Gaiden Sigma. So hold the goddamn phone. Why are there like 3 different versions? So hold on. What's the difference between Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden X, Ninja Gaiden Black, and Ninja Gaiden Sigma? And then Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword was the DS game. That I know.
Yeah. So the first one in 2004 came out on the Xbox. That was just Ninja Gaiden. That was like, we're doing 3D Ninja Gaiden now, and it's going to be like good graphics because the last ones were pixel art, but the last one prior. And then...
Well, that was still good graphics just for the time.
Yeah, I just meant... Yeah, that was an overgeneralization for sure.
Don't you be dissing those pixel art. Pixel art's beautiful.
It is. But jumping from that to like original Xbox is huge. So they had that one, and then a couple years later they came out with Ninja Gaiden Black, which is basically they added a higher difficulty. They added more chapters, more levels, more enemies, more upgrades, more weapons. They had a couple of chapters where you would play as Rachel, who's another character she's like a She basically looks like an S&M, like she's a dominatrix,
Oh
basically,
yeah.
and she's got this big ass hammer, and so she plays very different from Ryu, and she's a ton of fun. She's a little clunky in that game, especially if you're used to Ryu being like super fast. But they added chapters where you could play as her, and that was pretty cool. And then, so they were both on the original Xbox. Then on PS3, they made Ninja Gaiden Sigma, which is like they why it didn't do as well in the fan base is because they didn't use Black as the basis for it. They used the original. So there's a lot of that content from Black that you don't get. There is some that you do, but the Sigma versions tend to be, there's a Sigma version of 1 and 2, and they tend to be easier, a little bit dumbed down. Sometimes they'll add stuff that was like, why, like this, they'll add bosses and be like new content, but it'll be like just a reuse. It'll be like you're just gonna refight a boss you already did with like some more extra enemies around it instead, and it's like, why did you do this? Or they'll add something completely new, but it's like in a totally random spot in the story, and it's like this now this doesn't make any sense. Like, why is this guy here? I already killed him, but now he's like back again just because. It's kind of weird. They're fine. They're all good, but I think Black is the best one. It's also the hardest one, and one of my greatest gaming achievements, aside from just beating the original on NES at all, is beating Black on the highest difficulty, the Master Ninja difficulty level, which took me literal years. Like, it's so hard. You fight an evil version of yourself that has all the moves as you. You fight like an evil Ryu Hayabusa, and you realize what you've been doing to every enemy because he absolutely just wrecks your shit, and it's so cool but also so hard. Anyway, I could go on about Ninja Gaiden. So they did the same thing with Ninja Gaiden 2 as well. They released Ninja Gaiden 2, then they released Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma on, so 2 was on 360.
Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2.
Yes, sorry. They released Ninja Gaiden 2 on the like 360. It was a 360 exclusive, I think, in like 2012, and then
Sigma 2 was 2009.
Really? Oh yeah, because I was working at GameStop. Oh my god, I still have a name tag with a Ryu Hayabusa on it. Oh my god, yeah. I think it was 2008 was the first 2, and then 9 was Sigma 2. But they never made a Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which fans of the series will say is the definitive version. So now, how many years later in 2025, they're like, oh, by the way, we're making a definitive version of Ninja Gaiden 2, which even more so brings back a lot of the content that they cut from Sigma. I'm being very vague because I think I'll talk forever about it if I don't. But there's specific sections of the original version of 2 that they're recreating for Black that the 360 could handle that the PS3 could not, and that they took out of Sigma 2 when they made it. Like at the end of the game, like 100 ninjas just come running down the staircase at you, and you have to fight them off. And yes, it does chug because it's pushing the system to its limits. But they took that out completely of the original Sigma, and I've heard that they put it back in for this one, and they've remastered it in Unreal 5, so it looks incredible. It looks really really pretty. Yeah. So Ninja Gaiden soapbox for the most part over. I love this series.
Let me do my wood pellet soapbox real fast. I promise it won't be long.
That's only fair. Drew, come back. We're talking about wood.
This is for Drew. You know. No, so we the reason we got the wood pellet stove at all was our house, like the HVAC system that we have down here just cannot keep up when it gets this cold, and it was running 24/7 for like 2 months. Our heat upstairs, even though we would set it to like 72, it would be like 80 degrees upstairs and 58 degrees downstairs.
Blech.
Like it was like the juxtaposition was insane because all the heat would it just there was plenty of vents upstairs, and they would all congregate, and it was easy. You could also close the doors so the vents would keep everything in. It's smaller rooms, so it's easier to heat. Downstairs, our kitchen and our living room are connected. There's no doors. There's doorways, but there's no doors like breaking them apart. So the heat would just travel everywhere, and it was impossible to get to stay warm. And it was even worse when before we put a door between our side and my mother-in-law's side, because then all the heat would go over to her side, which is even less circulated. It was just freezing as all get out. So it was impossible to heat. It was going to like we still haven't gotten our first electric bill, even though we moved here in October. That's a whole nother
What the hell?
thing. Not necessarily complaining. It saved us money when we
Yeah.
were struggling a little bit, and so even though we're going to have to eventually pay that, we can put it on a payment plan. And yeah, we might have to pay like an extra $50 on our electric bill every month, but that's better than dropping an extra 200 or 300 for the electricity during those months.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my parents helped us out because let me start off by saying wood pellet stoves are not cheap. It's a big investment up front. It cost like $5,000, I want to say.
Oh
in
my
total.
God.
But that's including a stone pad for us to put it on, the stove itself, all the parts, and the installation, all of that wrapped up. And we got some help. There's no way we could have afforded this on our own, just to be clear.
Yeah.
But
I'm only laughing because I'm like, I'm so poor that I'm like, my donation goal up here is like $150 for me to get a passport. And you're like, it's like, just $5,000.
It was we would not have been able to afford it otherwise. So
Damn.
what we did instead, so my parents helped us out a lot with it, and the reason why it's so efficient is that it brings in air from outside, and the heating process is done by the pellet fire, obviously, and then it's got fans and it blows it all out. Like you just put it wherever the best spot in the house is, and it just pushes hot air out everywhere, and it heats up the entire downstairs, and obviously heat rises, so then it helps heat the upstairs. So our HVAC system that blows out air through the vents only really has to run in like 20-minute intervals, and then it'll be fine for like 40 minutes.
Does it smell
it's great.
like burning wood?
A little bit, but not a lot. Usually when the fire first starts.
I love that smell.
When the fire first starts, you smell it, and then after it gets going, you don't really notice it anymore. To heat the house, like in general, you can buy wood pellets in 40-pound bags, and a bag will cost you one 40-pound bag of pellets will basically, if you run the stove for the full day, it'll last you about one bag. Like one bag will heat the stove running nonstop for a full day.
Okay.
A bag is $5 to $7.
Damn.
So
a lot up front, but you save a lot over the long run.
You can, like, theoretically, if you buy a ton and you buy it all in bulk, right? Which is it's a lot. It's like $250 to buy a literally physical ton. Like I'm not talking about a ton figuratively.
Yeah.
I mean 2,000 pounds worth of wood pellets.
Pounds. Oh my God.
It's like 40-pound bags is what it would be. It's like $250.
That's wild.
That'll heat your house for 2 months for like $250.
Yeah.
Right. Now, everyone's situation is different. I don't know what the house is, but I have to gush about it because the old man in me now who has to worry about bills, which part of me secretly kind of likes. And I'll tell you, not worry about bills, I should say. Managing finances is a little bit fun because it almost turns into a game for me where I'm like, okay, well, if I do this and I take money off of here and I put it to that, then I can pay that off. And it turns into almost like a video game for me, which is kind of weird.
That's so funny.
That's not.
Because I hate games like that.
It depends on it, but
you used to live with
oil sheet. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Literally
me too.
thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands. You would spend $300 to $400 a month on that shit.
Yeah.
A wood pellet stove, you could spend $250 for 2 months of heat.
That's
2
wild.
months.
Yeah, when I was in like 7th grade, we had oil in our apartment, and my mom was always talking about like I cannot afford like this oil. Like it's so expensive.
It is.
And that was like, how old was I in 7th grade? What year was that? Like 2004, 2005? This was like before it got even worse.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I'm
It's
glad
just wild.
you have that investment, and it seems to be paying off because $5 for a bag
$5 to heat your house for a day.
for a whole
That's
day.
essentially what it is.
That's
$5 to $7 to heat. That's the price of a cup of coffee. It's wonderful. So if you can get one, like whether you get some help with it, whether you can afford it up front, highly, highly recommend it. And the way it even works is that like it does it all by itself. It has a thermostat plugged into it. It reads the temperature, obviously, and then when you set it to whatever temperature you want it to be. When it gets up, it automatically turns off.
hmm.
Um, and then when it drops a certain like 2 or 3 degrees, then it'll be like, oh, the temperature's dropping. Let me turn it back on, and it will actually like feed a whole bunch of pellets from the hopper by itself, like because there's a big
Oh wow.
hopper, and so you are using some electricity to run the hopper, which and then also do the blower, but producing heat uses a lot more electricity than just pushing air. So that's kind of like how we are managing that. So it's really cool. So we just let it go all night. It's awesome.
What
Yeah.
was this about? Oh, the tag. I think we were talking about music, and I know you're kind of a metalhead. Shadowed. Is that what? Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
he's oh yeah. We were talking about it was the Knight Rider band.
Yeah.
So
Well, now I
real
have to
quick,
head out
Andrew,
and buy a wood stove. Got to start a stream. Yeah, see you, Drew. Thanks for coming by.
real
Um,
quick, Andrew, I
yeah.
have to use the bathroom real quick. So if you keep going, I'll be
Okay.
right back.
I'll talk about Knight Rider again for Shadowed. So, Drew,
Sounds good.
I wanted to talk about this band that I found. I love that little skull, Drew. And Drew was like, "Oh, Shadowed, I think would really like this band." And so basically, they're sorry for everyone who's gonna have to listen to me talk about this again, but they're like a synthwave metal band. So it sounds very 80s with the synth, and then they come in with like kind of a post-hardcore kind of gent, kind of metally sound, a little bit emo, which isn't normally my bag, but it works for this. It really does. And Drew was like, "Oh, I think Shadowed would dig them." And I told Josh about him because he showed me this band when we were in college together, called "And Then There Were None," which is like another like kind of emo, but they're like techno metal. So that was right up his alley. Synthwave and gent metalcore, yeah. I'll say the same thing I just said, and Chris earlier, dev quest, was saying he was listening to it and it was a vibe, and it totally is. If you listen to any song by them, if you want to get introduced to them, listen to one called "The Dark." It's their newest song. They have one album. It's a self-titled album, but "The Dark" just came out and it's kind of doing numbers for them. And I really hope that they blow up, and I really hope that they tour because I really want to see them live. It would be such a vibe. But yeah, what else were we? What can I talk about while Josh? Never mind. Drains the main vein, as my dad used to say. Not the biggest fan of genty metalcore or post-hardcore, but there's the occasional band that I like that I don't mind. Yeah, it's not super genty. Like they only really play with they only get crazy with the time signatures in the breakdown. But even then, like it's kind of like Tool, where you're like, okay, they're really going nuts with the time signatures, but you can still kind of follow the rhythm, and you can still kind of like, oh no, okay, you're banned. Just kidding. That's my favorite band.
Uh-huh.
Love prog metal, and I
Tool.
hate Tool. That's very surprising. I know they are technically prog metal, but I don't know. I kind of put them in their own. They're more like, I feel like they're like psychedelic metal.
Psychedelic.
Yeah.
The only song I know by them is "The Pot." Doom, doom,
Oh,
doom,
okay. Yeah.
doom, doom,
Who
doom,
are
doom,
you
doom,
to
doom.
wave
You
your
must have been
finger?
so high.
That's probably their most quote unquote palatable, normal-ish sounding song. A lot of their stuff is like 10 minutes long of just really weird existential stuff, which I love. I love it. And I also will never argue. I'm sad that you don't like Tool, Shadows, but I will never argue against anyone who says they don't like Tool,
Butt
because
rock. I love that expression.
Tool always had too much association with butt rock. How dare you? Okay, now I'm taking personal offense. Is it just because they're popular? Be honest. I don't think. I would also say you're. Are you only hearing what's on the radio? Because like the pot, like Josh mentioned, while I still like that song, is the most like normally sounding song. I would say listen to like Lateralis. I mean, really anything off of that album, but the song Lateralis, incredible. It's like 13 minutes long or something. It's just wild and weird. I've always been about them. No, that's okay.
I don't even heard of any of those bands. Vanden Plas, Pagan's Mind, Andromeda. No, Andromeda.
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 I haven't heard of any of those either.
Real quick, what was the other thing you wanted to talk about? Because I have one last thing to touch on before we wrap up for the night.
Okay. I just wanted to talk about how last week I had that interview with Sam Martino from Dogwood Gaming, who we're going to go back to MagFest. He did a panel at MagFest last year. I went. The short version of it, I've been talking about it, and this is how General Onox came into the picture. I went to this panel. It was titled, What If Hayao Miyazaki Made a Game About Mechs? And I was like, you just said two things that I love. And I went to this panel. He basically did an experience share. He just kind of gushed about this game. We talked about it, in the panel and everything. And I could not stop thinking about it. I was like, this game sounds amazing. There's like it's on the PS2. Nobody knows about it. There's a whole stock market that you can manipulate in this game. Like, there's the world it's a non-linear game, so it's like living, breathing world. If somebody loses a job because of a choice that you make, they'll leave town and go to another town, and you might find this character in another town working somewhere else, which could change the story. Like, everything is a Pepe Sylvia spider web of connecting bullshit, and in a good way bullshit. And it's all wrapped up in this like kind of cozy. I was saying it in so Drew has a friend named Tilted Gaming who we kind of popped into his stream, and when you raid somebody, it's like, oh, you were playing, it was like the experience point was playing Steambot Chronicles, and he was like, what's that? And I was like, it's like Studio Ghibli with mechs. And then I was like, it's kind of like a cozy Armored Core. Which, like, you get different parts for your mech. Like, you can get like, cannons and rockets, and or like a sword arm, or you can get like fins, for different fins for your legs that can make you like go in water, or you can get tank treads for the legs, or you can get like jumping insect legs. Like, it's very cool. It's like an action RPG as well, so like you don't level up, you just get better parts, and then you upgrade the parts themselves. There's a whole like fossil mini game that's kind of like Animal Crossing that I just got to. It's very, very deep. Anyway, all that to say, I talked about it for ages, and there's Onox and the better skills with the thumbsticks. Did
you talk about one of the abilities in the game?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, are you talking about like the rocket thing that you can do? But yeah, so I got obsessed because of Sam's presentation, and I wanted to have him on. So he came on last week for Talk Tuesday, got to gush about it again, do like an experience share. Just controlling it in general. Yeah, it's like it's got kind of tanky controls, like tank controls, but with a twin stick. I know. It's definitely tough to get used to.
Tank controls are like automatically, I'm like, I can't stand tank control games.
Yeah, it's definitely tough to get used to, especially when you get out of the mech and you're running around with like normal controls. I'm like, but it makes sense. And if like, I don't know, I don't.
Tank controls never make sense. Don't lie to me.
I think it does in this game.
What?
But anyway, I had him on. we did an experience share. He gushed about it some more, and he also had shared some really cool information. So this the game company who made it is called IREM. It's like IREM.
Yeah, they're the same people who did there's a really cool game on the NES called Metal Storm,
Oh, cool.
which had like it switches like you play it in a mech that you switch the direction of gravity
Whoa,
on the NES. Super far advanced in my
weird.
opinion. Like
Yeah,
really
well,
cool. I'll see.
I'll check that
I'll
out.
look
That
it up.
tracks for because everything that you can do
Yeah,
in this game
developers
is
Tamtex and IREM.
nice. I'll check that out. Um,
Yeah.
oh, Knight Rider is basically a rebranded Affiance. Yeah, yeah. That's basically what it's. Some of the members of that band, which I didn't know, but Josh listened to them.
I found one Affiance song before this, and it was that Call of the Warrior, which is an awesome music video, but that's besides the point.
Nice. But yes,
Which you still didn't watch.
So no, I have not watched it yet. Wait, but I think I did prior when I first found this band.
Hmm.
That song, "The Dark," was decent. Okay. Well, I like it a lot. It's not normally my flavor of metal. Like I think I like more metalcore.
Which is so funny because you used to not like metal at all.
I used to not. Well, I've always loved metal, but I was more of a power metal guy. I was like, I don't like all the screaming. Just give me like Nightwish and Sonata Arctica and Stratovarius and like those types of bands. But now I'm like, yeah, give me the heavy stuff. Like,
I love a good. It was a tradition on my Facebook when I actually still used Facebook. Every year for Christmas, I would just write, "All I want for Christmas is a breakdown."
nice. Yeah,
that's all I will ever want. Just give me a breakdown. August Burns Red, everything, like so many breakdowns. Ugh.
Yeah. I like, I think more of like they have to at least have a melody.
A melody?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I've been really into this band called Bleed From Within lately, who is probably about the heaviest thing that I can listen to, and it's because the melody of the music and the choruses are just incredible. Anyway, Steamboat Chronicles. So I finally started playing it. Polisa got it for me for my birthday, and I had Sam on. He talked about it, and then I started playing it. I'm hooked. I'm addicted. It's so fun and so deep. And so I started to say, so the IREM, they were making a sequel in 2011 when the tsunami hit. So they obviously, that devastated them, and that also like fucked up a lot of the, I think, original data, like the files and stuff. They lost a lot of that. On the subject of metal music, gonna plug my wife's cousin's band, What Lies Below. Oh, sick. Okay,
Oh, cool.
I'll check them out. Chris, message me that on Facebook so don't forget, and I'll definitely give them some love on the internet. IREM, what was I gonna say? Oh, so they kind of got absorbed by another company, and Sam from Dogwood Gaming has been in contact with them, trying desperately to see like who owns the IP. Like if we want another one, or if we want a remake or something, or a remaster, how do we get in contact with them? And he actually got he said he was at a wedding, and he met somebody from pure chance who was like at one point the chairperson of E3 when they still existed. And I was like, what? Imagine just running into like an E3 executive and just being like, oh yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, this person was like, oh yeah, I know somebody from IREM. They got in touch with them. He had to fax this person because Japan, for as futuristic as they are, still uses faxing for some reason. But he, through a translator, found out that they do still own the IP, and so his gaming company is looking into potentially getting it like revitalized
Wow.
And I was like, that is so damn cool. That would be like me, and I always equate this like being able to work on a Phantom Dust remake or something. You know, like my game that nobody knows about that I never shut up about. Like that's
I
that
mean,
for
I know
him.
about it because of you, but
Well, yeah, but one of these days. So in March, it's the 20th anniversary of that game. So I think I'm gonna do my own experience share for the 20th anniversary. And I don't know who the unfortunate soul is that I'm going to dump all of this onto. Maybe you, Josh, but I know you don't like card games. Even though it's not a card game, it is an action game. The mechanics hide a card game underneath, and you get to pick what skills you want based on a deck that you build yourself.
the way you described it, it didn't seem quite as bad.
No, it's not like you're playing Hearthstone or, you know.
Or like Kingdom Hearts.
Oh my God!
Birth by Sleep.
No, it's everything that you wanted
Chain of Memories
to be. Like it actually works.
Okay. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like I never understood. Like Balatro seems interesting to me, but
Yeah.
like that's kind of like pulling a card game on its head, or putting it like flipping a card game on its head.
Yeah, but it's also based on poker,
but
which I have no interest in and no.
But that's what
about.
everyone I've talked to who doesn't like poker is like, this game's great. So I don't know.
Oh, Nox was just about to say Chain of Memories. It's the worst. Hey, hon. What's the worst Kingdom Hearts game?
Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories.
Correct answer. The fighting system sucks donkey balls. You heard it here first.
It does indeed suck those donkey balls.
Like, I hated that.
Yeah. And the fact that you just can't, there can be, if you play the cards wrong, you can just not be able to do anything.
Right. It's stupid. Then I have to turn the game off.
I hate it.
That game is I love the pixel art.
Yeah.
That's about it.
If you're going to do that, do it like, there's an RPG on the GameCube called Baten Kaitos that uses a card-based system, but it's turn-based. So if you get a bad hand and you, like, your attack is bad, you can still attack or whatever, you just don't do a lot of damage. In Chain of Memories, if you don't have the cards, you can do nothing. And it's so frustrating, especially if you're playing the remake, because you're running around as Sora, like you're like, I'm so used to being able to press square and or X and just attack my enemies, and you can't do shit.
Yeah, me and X had a love affair.
Well, you had a love affair with it?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know I love hitting the X.
The love-hate.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, so I'll wrap up Steambot Chronicles. Oh, they block your cards with 9s. Oh my God, it's so annoying. I played maybe 15 minutes of Chain of Memories, the remake, and was like, no, never again. And I watched all the cutscenes, and I moved on to the next one. I'll wrap up Steambot Chronicles by saying I started streaming it. General Onox came in by complete chance, I think. You were just like, oh my God, I loved this game as a kid. I played it like 6 times. And then now has been kind of following my journey here. So that's been my Main Quest Monday game. I don't know if it will be for the foreseeable future, because I do actually still have Armored Core to play. I'll go from cozy Armored Core to actual Armored Core. That's so wild to me though, Onox, because of how rare, like maybe not rare, but how obscure this game is. But I highly recommend it. It's very cozy and fun. And
I was gonna say, if you stream just about any game long enough, people who like it will find you. Some of my followers that show up. I mean, I don't have many. Not a lot of people show up to my streams. One thing I mean this very sincerely, sir. I am envious of you is your ability to converse with people in chat. Like even when I converse with people in chat, it's always a little bit more. I feel more, you feel very natural doing it. I'm kind of like, oh hey.
Aw,
so
thanks.
I've always been very jealous of in a good way, good jealous way of like your ability to just kind of create this very like happy vibe atmosphere on your streams.
Oh, I appreciate that a ton. That's the whole point. I would rather have my small community of dedicated people who just like my content for me and are in my brand of weird than have like hundreds of viewers who are just like, I couldn't give a shit. Would Valkyria Chronicles be a subsect of Armored Core? I don't know. Oh, not Armored Core like a genre, like the series of mech fighting games called Armored Core. That's what I have to play. Armored Core 6, which just came out. And I've
And
never played
speaking of
Valkyria Chronicles.
and
So I don't know.
speaking of like games and topics to play, though, the last thing I had to bring up was I need some help figuring out an episode for the last Sunday in February.
Ooh, okay.
I have an open slot. It was going to be Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, but that game is pissing me off, and I'm trying. I'm going to push back that review until April.
Okay, you gotta have Drew on for that one because he loves that series.
I know we've talked about it already and had
Yeah.
my I already have a guest lined up for it, unfortunately, though. But so that slot was going to be February 23rd, but now I have less than a month to figure out a topic, record it, and edit it. And
Okay.
I don't know what to do. Technically, the episode would be due out on the 19th, so I have just a day over 3 weeks until, because the 19th is a Wednesday. That's when it would be released on Patreon. I don't know what to do. I was thinking there is it would be kind of perfect for the timing. There is a dude named Francisco Gonzalez who is an adventure game developer. Like, I'm talking like point and click adventure games, like
Okay.
LucasArts, that type of stuff.
Onox
He has
is
a
into
game
those.
that
We
he
were just talking about that last night.
what were you talking about last night?
Point and click games.
Okay.
Ooh, Sea of Stars. I have to look
I've
into
been meaning to play CSR, but I also can't play another goddamn RPG right now. I don't have time.
Yeah.
For Mario month, I did all Mario RPGs. So since November, I did Super Mario. I've played Super Mario RPG. I've played Paper Mario. I've played and beaten Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, and Thousand Year Door. Those four
Damn.
games in the span of about 2 months.
Whew.
And they're 20 some odd hours.
I was gonna
Mario
say.
RPG isn't that long, but like I think all of them were at least 23 to 28 hours. And I'm now in the middle of Partners in Time, which I'm about 3 hours into currently. But that's not due out. That's the last episode of Mario month, so I got some time. So I either need to find a game I can beat in a sitting, like I'm talking like a 3 to 5 hour sitting.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking of interviewing Francisco because he has a game that he announced, a new point and click adventure game called Rosewater, which is like an old Western style game, an old West type of game. The animation is like stunning for a point and click.
Nice.
And but I've never played any of his games, but he did release a handful of them for free. I downloaded.
Oh, sweet.
I downloaded one of them, but the rest you obviously have to pay for. But I don't really have time or the money right now to justify it. So I don't know what to do. I feel like I could interview him, and it would help him out because he has a game coming out in March. So if I interview him for February, that would be like a good time,
Yeah.
to help promote it. But I don't know.
Yeah, if he doesn't, let's see if we can come up with some. Have you done an episode? Well, I know you've played it, but I'm trying to think of short games. First one I can think of is like Portal. I'm sure you've done one on Portal, and you've already played it.
I've never done an episode on Portal, but that's a very good idea because you can beat that in like an hour or two.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 or 3 hours. Chris is saying Firewatch, Inside. Have you done either of the Little Nightmares?
I did the first Little Nightmares, and I didn't technically do Firewatch, but I had Sissy Jones on, so I kind of count that.
Yeah, God,
I had
love
Sissy
her.
Jones on twice.
Our birthday is coming up. I can't wait. I talk to her every year on our birthday. We have the same birthday.
It's so funny because she doesn't talk to me at all anymore. But no.
Well, if only
I
you
don't
had the
think
same birthday.
I don't take it personally. I have considered doing Doki Doki Literature Club because I've heard that game goes from some fucking wild places.
Yeah, if you do play it on PC.
I have it on PC.
Okay,
I do own it on PC.
I saw it was on the Switch,
Portal.
and without spoiling anything, I don't know how some of that game works without being on PC. So,
You know what?
I haven't played
Portal
either.
might be a really good idea. Because I could beat that literally this week I've beaten it before, but like I could replay it easily this week. So I have a a topic sheet. Who I know people have signed up for Portal.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Okay,
say
I okay.
if you have one, go for it. But I've been talking about Valve games lately, and I have been wanting to show Polisa Portal. So if you don't have a guest, or if the person who signed up for it can't do it, I'd be happy to. Especially if we can. Anything Half Life related is my forte. Yeah, I just beat Black Mesa. I say just last year. I beat Black Mesa, which was amazing.
All
But
right. I think Portal is like a really, really good idea. And that'll be literally, oh man. So I, the two of the guests that signed up for it, I feel bad. I'm going to have, I might, you know what, Andrew? I could probably have you on, literally because the two guests that signed up for it, one is, someone named Matt Storm. They're an awesome podcaster and they have normally I would say I would put because they signed up for it, but I legitimately have them on the very next episode after that
oh,
for Super Mario RPG.
nice.
So yeah, that could potentially work. That's a really good idea.
This
I was
sweet.
tempted to do like Portal back to back, but you know what? Like not every sometimes I not everything has to be like a series. I
Yeah.
always try to do like, oh, I mean just do this back to back. Not everything has to be a series though. So let me at least put you down for that if you're good for that.
Yeah, it's the last Sunday in February, the 23rd.
That's when it's due. So it's actually due out on. Hold on. It's due out for the public on the 23rd, but Patreon the 19th. So ideally, I'd want to record it maybe sometime next week or the week after.
Okay.
Like February, in between February 2nd and 8th or February 9th and 15th. And let me
This is
reach out.
riveting
I'll add,
content. Watch two guys figure out their schedules together.
this is riveting, I tell you, riveting.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. And then that would kind of give us a push to play Portal, the first one, because
Yeah.
she knows. Obviously, Polisa knows "Still Alive," the song, as most people do. If you grew up in the nerd space in the times that we did, and I said something about Black Mesa, and she was like, "Oh, is that like from Portal?" And I was like, "No, but kind of." And she was like, because they
Same
say,
universe.
yeah, they say, maybe Black Mesa. And I told her a little bit about what happens at Black Mesa, and I told her about the basic functions of Portal, and she said it sounded really cool, and I would love to show her that. So that would definitely give me a reason to, and we can do that in the next week or so. Give me D&D flashbacks. Why D&D?
Okay.
Did you play a character that was basically Gordon Freeman and you just didn't talk the whole time? Gordon. I love the scientist voices in that first Half-Life. Oh, the planning, part. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's the next couple weeks. Actually, I will shout this out. So, real quick, because I don't have to start my stream, but I'm planning on actually streaming tonight. By the way, after we're done here, I'm going to be practicing. I'm going to be preparing for. I want to start getting back into speed running for the PS1 game Sled Storm.
Yeah.
I've done it before. I have to rebeat the game to unlock this specific sled, like this specific snowmobile. So that's what I'll be working on through tonight. Anyway, neither here or there. This is still just like going. Everything's just kind of going through my head with this. So my most recent episode of the podcast was on The Last Guardian. Fumito Ueda's
Yes.
The Last Guardian.
Still haven't played that.
I'm so proud of this episode. Dave Jackson from Tales from the Backlog was on it. Really happy with that conversation. Next week, though, did I tell you I interviewed David? I think I don't know if I mentioned it on the last stream. I don't remember. Did I tell you I interviewed a strategy guide writer?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
So I'm very excited about this episode. I shared a clip of it already on social media. I'm going to be sharing another one, I guess actually tomorrow, because it'll be out for my patrons tomorrow. Uh, I interviewed David Cassidy. David Cassidy was the strategy guide writer for Final Fantasy VII, like the official Brady strategy guide
Yo,
for Final
sick.
Fantasy VII. He also wrote the guide for Final Fantasy VIII. He also wrote for Final 12. He also did Kingdom Hearts 2. He also did Parasite Eve. He also did Metroid Prime. All over
Whoa.
the place between Prima and Brady guides. He kind of worked for both at various parts of his time writing. And he shared some stuff that like just blows my goddamn mind.
I can
So
imagine. I've always wanted to know, how do you even go about, like, you have to know, do you work with, like, do you get tools that let you go outside the games? Like, how do you get this information?
uh oh shoot. Sorry, 1 second. I forgot. Am I recording? Not tomorrow night. I think I'm recording a guest spot tomorrow night. I am. I'm recording a guest spot tomorrow night. Shoot. Good thing that he mentioned I got message. Anyway, sorry. I just got a Discord message. Um so what was I saying? He talks about that on the episode. He
Mhm.
talks about like how much like what did he have tools to go outside the framework of the game and this and that. And I don't want to spoil it because you the answer is surprising. I'll say that.
Excellent. Okay.
I will say because I've shared this as well, and I'm going to share it on the clip tomorrow. Actually, you know what? Is there a way for me to? I don't think you would need to. If I share my screen, how like is that going to fuck everything up?
I don't think so. It'll just replace your little square here or rectangle with whatever you
Yeah.
share.
Hold on just a second. So
Because I'm streaming it
instead of
directly
me,
from the call, the Discord call.
yeah, instead of me, I think this is right. Hold on. Can you hear anything that it's? Can you hear any clip right now?
No.
All right, cool. That's fine. I just wanted to make sure it was. Yeah. Let me up the volume. I apologize if it's too loud because we haven't tested this before.
Okay.
Let me share just this.
If your microphone picks it up, it'll.
No. I if I share the screen, it should be fine.
Okay.
What does that look like? Okay, just replace that. Okay, that's kind of wild. So this clip is going to be shared tomorrow, and I can't wait. Tell me if you can hear this.
Okay.
On Final
Mhm.
Fantasy VII,
Yes.
again, because of the way it scrolled, we couldn't put screenshots together to make a world map, and there was no other world map in that game. So we ended up hiring an artist to go in and do an oil painting of the
What?
world. Yeah, the map
What?
that's in there is a photograph of an oil painting.
Is
No
that
way.
the thing in the last couple pages where you see Final Fantasy VII world map?
Yep. Yeah, that is an actual painting that still exists.
What?
One of my friends who worked at Brady's still has that at his house. Yeah,
That's
it's one of a kind.
amazing.
Yeah,
Gonna need that
one of
guy's
a kind
address.
painting. On Final
Right?
That's
Isn't that
incredible.
crazy?
That's so cool. Talk about
I'll
working
share the
within,
clip.
like, constraints.
Oh, there was a lot of constraints that they had. Like it is wild what they had to deal with. Um, let me share. I don't know how that's gonna. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Let me uh bring up one more clip. Wow, that actually went really smoothly.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised by that. So this is a little bit longer of a clip, but it's a good one as well. How was the volume on that? Was it too loud or was it okay?
It was a little low.
Little low. I don't know if I can up it any higher.
It was okay,
Can
though.
I hold on? Let me share my screen again. Go live, and then can I? Is there a way to like? Because I have the volume for that maxed out already.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if there's a way for me to like up. If I go to my user settings, would that be in like streaming or no? I don't know where that would be at.
It was definitely. It was okay. It was just I just had to be quiet.
Okay, then all right, yeah. Then this is what I'll share next. So this was a clip I shared on Friday last week. Oh, sorry. This is actually he is talking here about writing the Virtua Racing strategy guide.
Nice. I don't think you switched.
What?
You didn't share your screen.
Oh, what the? It says that I am.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, hold on. Let me stop streaming. Let me share my screen again. That's weird. So it wasn't playing at all?
No.
Okay. Let me try stop streaming again.
We love technology.
Yeah, seriously. Why did that work the first time?
I don't know.
Also share application audio. Yes.
The Prima gods just wanted us to hear it. I can hear it making the sound of it connecting and you sharing your screen, but I just see you.
Why? Hold on. Why is it not letting me show the? That's so weird. It says that I'm streaming too.
Discord.
Why is it doing that? That is so weird. I can turn off. What if I turn off my camera? No, it just shows me.
Yeah, it's just the.
Oh.
What?
What? All right, hold on. If I show my screen share, show non. That is so weird. I don't know why it worked the first time. And you could not hear it at all either.
No, it was just you, and there I couldn't hear anything.
Still nothing?
Nope.
That is annoying as hell. Why did that work the first time?
Oh, we got one good clip.
Yeah, that's just annoying then.
Yeah.
That is very, very, very frustrating. I don't know why I did that.
Discord
I'll
plays
try one
by its own rules.
I guess so. I'll try one last time. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But applications.
Bilili?
That's so weird. Hold on. Capture devices, no. Screens, no. Because what I did was I just had it grab the media player. That worked out really well.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just choosing not to. That is so weird, dude. That is so weird. And it just keeps showing me. All right, well, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
It worked the first time.
That first clip was really cool. That's wild to me that they were like, yeah, let's hire. It's now cheaper. Well, not just that it was cheaper, but the only way to get this piece of art is to just have somebody paint it. It's easier than getting access to like a build of the game where you can fly around with no camera. That's so funny.
What the other clip was, and for those who do want to hear it, you can find it on my social media over on Blue Sky or Instagram. What it was they couldn't find someone to write the strategy guide for Virtua Racing. Kind of understandably so. What do you write for a strategy guide for a racing game?
Go really fast and don't crash.
So I thought it was funny. So he asked a friend of his who's like a racing, like a NASCAR enthusiast, and he's like, "Could you write me a basic set of like racing strategy? It doesn't have to be applicable to this game. I just want basic racing strategy." And so that's how he filled a 96-page guide.
Oh my god!
On Virtua Racing, was by talking to his friend and getting his friend to provide him, and he also got his friend paid as a co-writer type of thing, which is kind of cool.
That's the way to do it. That's hilarious. So I imagine half of the stuff, probably more than half, doesn't even apply to the game.
I would assume so. He had so many snippets, dude. Like, there's so much. Like, I want to talk so much about it, but I just want people to listen to it because there's so many little tidbits of like he talks about memory cards, like
Mm.
what was it like to make a strategy guide with like how did he like what type of what this memory card usage was. He talks about like the like just getting hired, how he first got into it. He talks about like what he was given by game devs. He talks about he even talks a little bit, even though he didn't write it, the infamous Final Fantasy IX strategy guide. Which have you ever seen that thing?
No, I haven't.
That guide was infamous because it didn't. They gave you nothing.
Oh
You would
no.
basically say like it would have like a snippet and it was like if you want more information on how to do this, visit Sony. It was play online and use the keyword Garn2 or something like that, and everything directed you to Sony's website.
Yeah. So what did you buy the guide for?
Exactly. You and Sony was just like it's our Square's website at the time. It was just a mess.
That's so funny.
Anyway, we should probably wrap up this, sir. I do want to try
Yeah.
to get some Sledstorm practice in.
Yeah. Are you still ranked in that game?
I'm still 4th in the world.
Hell yeah. That's so cool to be able to say. I think the only thing that I have remotely like that is when Sonic 4 first came out, I did speed runs of, well, quote unquote speed runs. I just tried to play the game really quickly, which is the point. And I was, I think, in the top 10 for the first level of that game, like in worldwide, which I was like, that's pretty dope for it being a Sonic game too, like a bad Sonic game, but it was still a Sonic game, which people make, you know, their life out of speedrunning those. So it didn't last very long, but for one point, at one point I was in the top 10 for the level 1 of Sonic 4. But that's cool. Is there any like really heavy tech stuff for the speedrun of Sledstorm, or is it mostly just
Surprisingly,
Don't suck.
yeah.
nice?
Surprisingly, yeah. It's been a minute since I can explain it more on stream as I'm going through it.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool.
Sorry, I'm just in speaking of wait, sorry, I saw you signed up. I'm reaching out to the other guest for that that Portal episode.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, see if that was still an option. All right, I'm good. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure I did that before I forgot.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, wait, are we not doing the portal?
no, we are, but it's going to be you and another guest
Oh, okay.
because there's 2 people that signed up for it, and one of them, like I said, is going to be on the Super Mario RPG episode, the very next episode. So I'm like, well, if Andrew wants to be on it, it's been a minute since you've been on.
Yeah.
So why not? So
If
yeah.
this other person can't, and if she's cool with it, would you want to have Pelisa on as someone who has just played it for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. Sweet.
That would be really interesting. Hell, I mean, even if they do want to come on, even if they can come on, maybe Police would still want to come on. That's fine.
Okay, sweet. I didn't know if it would be too many people, but
Nah,
then again,
I don't.
I remember our Final Fantasy VII episode where it was like what 5 or 6 people.
Yeah, well, that was ranking the characters and everything.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah, but anyway, I do want to start my stream
Yeah.
soon.
I will let you go. Thank you to everyone who came and hung out. It was a busy, lively
It was. This was a good one.
chat tonight. It was awesome, and that's what keeps me going. Honestly, like I always say, like when I'm playing a game by myself and I'm just talking to no one or myself, it's kind of disheartening. But just having people share their experiences, it's the experience point. That's why we're here. I love. Even if it's somebody who's trashing my favorite band, not trashing, but saying that my favorite band is not for them, which makes me sad, I still appreciate and love everyone who's in the chat, especially you watching this, and especially you, Josh.
Oh, you.
Thank you for hanging out here for another Talk Tuesday. We will probably see you next week, and I still have things to talk about that I didn't talk about tonight. So, and viewers like you. Thank you.
I will get my stream up very quickly. So if you still want to raid it over my way, I'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, definitely. I'll gather up all these experiencers. Oh God, did I just name my own community? Experiencers.
All right,
and we'll bring you over once you get going live. So
it'll be very quick, I promise you.
sick.
So
sounds good. All right.
All right.
Thank you, sir. See ya.
See y'all
shortly. All right. I feel like I can spread my wings now. So I can take up the whole room if I want. Which I basically do because I'm so out of shape. Let me not be self-deprecating. We are going to raid Josh from the Still Loading podcast, whom you know and love. Well, you at least know him. Yes, thank you for this. This has been a public broadcasting service, paid in part by our sponsors and viewers like you. Am I gaming's LeVar Burton? No, I can't even jokingly claim that title. All right. Everyone watching, everyone chatting, I love you dearly with all of my heart, most of my heart. I gotta be careful because my girlfriend will be sad. Thanks, Chris. Love you too. Take care and enjoy some Sled Storm. We'll see ya in the next one. What am I doing next? Today's Tuesday, so tomorrow is Wednesday. Wild Card Wednesday. I have to decide what I'm going to play. Even I don't know. That's how random it is. It's probably going to be something weird. That's usually what I play on Wednesdays. I don't know. I got to check my list. I have a lot of stuff that I need to play. I'm glad to hear it was an awesome time, Onox. It's always good to have you around. Maybe I'll double up on Steambot. Maybe I'll play Steambot again tomorrow so that I can switch to Armored Core Monday for my main quest Monday, because it will take me a lot less time to beat that than Steambot Chronicles, because oh my god, I could play that game forever. Anyway, everybody have a great night. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other and those you care about. Go to therapy. And what's my recommendation? Play Ninja Gaiden Black on the original Xbox if you can track that one down. Or just play Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which is out now on PS5, PC, and I think Xbox. It's on Game Pass if you got that. Great action game. Peace.